Yeah, it's a little interesting. 1 year ago tonight, we were standing on this stage as brand new presidentials, and tell you what, lots happened in the last couple of years. Real quick, on a show of hands, how many heard our story at convention? Okay, most of the room. That makes a difference. I want to make sure that I'm relevant for where we came from. So 4 years ago, at this time, many of you probably know that we own a furniture store, and you know, the thing about that time was, as the man of the family, I felt the pressure to carry the brunt of that load and protect my wife and children from the goods and the bads. During that time, you know, it broke my heart. 4 years ago, actually it was 4.5 years ago, when Amaya, you know, Thea wanted to put Amaya in a private little Christian preschool, and she came to me, and I kind of hadn't told her really how rough of a season we were going through in the furniture business, and not just rough, but we were really living on prayer. And she came to me, wanted to put Amaya in a Christian preschool, and for the first time, I didn't have a credit card to put it on. I didn't have the savings. I didn't have 6 months of emergency fund to put it on, to even give my daughter an education, even at a preschool level. And that was the first time I realized I was in trouble, and I didn't have a plan B. At the time, I was also 260 pounds. I think had just completed my 9th diet, and I was up 5 pounds. and really, but just to speed you up, would be, you know, shortly after that, Thea became a health coach, and at first I thought she was just doing it to be fun, and then sure, the second month I got that paycheck, and it was $748. She had hit manager, and I was like, okay, like, we can work with this. And we began for the first time to see a way of fixing a problem, fixing the debts, and fixing this mess that I had created and put us in. And so I jumped in with her, and we went to convention that year, and quickly behind that came to Sundance that next year, and really that's where we were. We went to Sundance, but I want to kind of speed up that process and go 2 years ago at this time. We came into Sundance by rank of national director, but really only qualifying as a regional director. I think our group volume was around 50,000, if that. And really feeling, I came in at a very angry place. I came in at yes, we had built something, and the $3,000 or $4,000 a month that we were making was patching holes to the mess that I had created. But the funny thing was, and actually it wasn't so funny, because there was a process, and there was a night that I sat in the River Run, Suite 15, with my mentors, Lisa and Jaime Castro. And I don't know if you remember that night, Lisa, or that day. I was so angry. I just had this, and I hate to use the word angry, but it was this, I didn't trust moving forward, because we had moved forward, and I had chose to slide back because I was not comfortable. I was starting to get uncomfortable. I was starting to taste some growth and success. And basically what I had done was I had patched some holes in our finances, and it became just enough. And what happened was we became complacent. So at that time, we came into Sundance very broken, still in the furniture business, still holding on to my security, but it was sucking me dry, while we were trying to create, which that word was like a 4-letter word at the time, like, what? I hate that word. No, let's just, you know, and yeah, let's fix this and see how we can fix this. And during that time, we came into that weekend, I was still toe dipping because I didn't trust the process, and I wanted to clean some things up. And we came in there feeling like we didn't belong. Why are we even here? You know, we just put a lot of money out to be here, going, you know, is this always going to be a nice hobby? Or, and it was just that frustrating process. And I think I see ourselves, and we stood there for a month or two, and I'll let you pick it up from here.
So that night in that suite, sitting with Lisa and Jaime and Carrie and Sven, and really the beauty of why we stand here today is truly from this beautiful mentorship model. Thank you, Dan Bell, for our compensation and the beauty that you wrote when you wrote this model of business, because we had an amazing support system and we reached up. And so we found ourselves, 2 years ago, still in the furniture business. I wanted to go all out after this. And I've always been the dreamer. I'm like the bird and he's the nest, and he keeps me grounded. And I was ready to go all out after this, but Doug just was not sure. And we were both very angry that night. I remember inside me, I'm like, can we just do this, Doug? You've told me for 6 months you're gonna close the store, we're gonna do this. And I remember, Lisa, you just sat there and processed with me. And what happened is I exchanged that night that spirit of anger I had and got really honest and really truthful and just shared my heart to Doug. That we can do this, babe. Like, we don't need to problem solve anymore. Like, let's go out and let's create this beautiful thing. And we stood at this like chastism, or like literally, like, I had enlisted. Like, I came to the Castor House and I saw this is home. Like, I want to be part of this movement. Just kind of like military, they enlist because they believe in our great country. I believed in this mission, so I enlisted. But when it got uncomfortable, it was like, ooh, what did I do? I'm on the front lines and I'm out here helping people. And it was kind of this pivotal, that Sundance was this pivotal time of where we had to forget the way we had done life previously. It wasn't about believing we could do it. It was, let's go all out after this. Let's become warriors. And that's really my word that kind of took place in that season was, Tia, are you going to rise up or are you going to hide? Are you going to warrior up and go out on the front lines? There's so many people that need what we have, and our fears, I literally had to kick fear in the face. It wasn't how I felt. Like, there were days where I didn't feel like getting out of bed and going out and sharing this amazing offering, but it was me getting over myself. Getting over my pride, my insecurities, and kicking that in the face and really going out and creating. And through this process, it's always been about this amazing support mentorship model that we have. And, through this season, and through becoming, presidential, fully integrated business leaders, there was times where I got really weary. And, we do, because we have big hearts, you guys. We have huge hearts, and but I would trade the weariness. I would not trade the weariness I have now at times because of my big heart. I'm learning. I'm building underlying structure, Robert Fitz, in my life, where I would not trade it from the past. Like, I was weary and I was overweight. I was sick as a mom of 2 little girls. There's days now where I feel weary, but I now have a structure and a system as a warrior, as a health coach, that I have my Habits of Health system. I have my personal trainer. I have my support team. I have my business partner in Doug. I have a team, all of you guys that are alongside me in raising up many more people to see that health is possible, that we're not alone. And, I'm just in awe of just how far we've come, and I'm excited to go out and create more. And no longer do we have to problem solve. We get to go out and create the life we desire. And it's not about believing it, you guys, because for so many years, that stinking thinking, we thought we had to create it. We thought we had to believe it to create it, but you don't. You just go out and do the daily steps, and really, this beautiful place is what has gotten us to the place we're at today.
Absolutely. And this morning on the walk back from the hike, I overheard Tia and Brad Miller talking, and Tia was going into this saying, you go into the battlefield as a soldier, but who comes out of the battlefield? The warriors. And I was like, Tia, that's it. That's what we did. That moment at Sundance, we went into Sundance feeling like soldiers in this fight, this frustration, this, what I was calling angry, but it was just really, I was upset with myself because I couldn't really go all in. And really, I realized that time we warriored up and we became champions and said, you know what? We are going to do this and start creating our desired outcome. So quickly, we came out of that Sundance, and we went from one ED regional, and we hit global there in January when we made that decision. And yes, we went presidential, I think it was 8 months later, which would have been a year ago at this time. But during that process, Dr. A said 2 nights ago at dinner, he said, people know the truth about you. The question is, do you know the truth about yourself? And that really resonated because there's 4 people in this room, and that throughout this last 2-year process, that I have given full permission to speak truth into our life. And that's Jaime and Lisa Castro and David and Terry Miller. Because the interesting thing was, for some reason, there's on the concept walls that are around here, there's a lot of stuff that gets thrown up against them. But for some reason, I've figured out that on my concept wall, and I thought there for a while, that the more smiley faces you get, the less mentorship you need. Why is that? You're laughing because you saw it up on the concept wall too. But really, as I wrap up here, think about that. Actually, the more smiley faces you want, then you get, actually, the more mentorship. That, current reality is an acquired taste, mentorship is an acquired taste. And once you get a taste of it, I tell you, it's unbelievable, because once you start figuring out the truth about yourself and you allow your mentorship to speak that into you and to walk through that journey with you, remember, they've been where you've been. And if they haven't been where you've been, their mentor has. So that's the great thing, is we all have that someone who is where we want to be, or has walked through the same frustration or the same tiptoeing experience that you did, or the feeling of coming to Sundance like I don't belong or I'm not making rank, to walk through it. But really, that's what our mentorship team is for. And when we get very truthful with ourselves, what do we really want? Not what baggage did we come in here with, not what rank did we not reach 2 months ago coming in here with, but what do we really want? And over the last year, even throughout this process, from standing on the stage 1 year ago at this time, our business has doubled again since last year at Sundance, because we just begin to continue to acquire this taste of mentorship and personal development. And we're happy just to take in this entire weekend with you guys. So thank you.